Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in and check out your boy, P Funk. Thinking right out here in the lab where I do what I do for you. I got a nice lesson for you today. No, I'm not a therapist or a psychologist or that nonsense directly, but the information I give you will be just as good as getting it from them. So let's do what we do. Rightism. 25 rules live by. Storytelling. Story with a message. There's a message in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in to receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission. That's what I'm on. Is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking way of life through mental and spiritual discipline, practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission, and that's what I'm on, is all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. See what we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I asked the question, do you know you? It's rhetorical, but if you don't have an answer for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do for you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not. Foolish, disregard them. They don't know nothing. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not but believes and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm a spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself. And always to my eye, be true. Speaking of my girl, we're going to talk about relationship. I got 2 pages of information based on relationships. So, right thinkers, let's talk about where we at. The art of mastering relationships. We all can master everybody else's relationships. But when it comes down to it, we can't master our own. Are you one of them? I'm not. Why? Because self-mastery is a relationship. And mastering your self-relationship also help you master any of the relationship you're going to be involved with. Watch this. That means you can master both. That's what I do. So let me try to help you with that. This is a good person. If you're in a relationship, I'm still a phrase out of the 42 Confessions of my I think it's number 27. I think so. But it says, I have not committed adultery. If you're married, just go for the male and the female. I don't split hairs. I give it to you both the same way. You're both responsible. Watch this, and it's going to prove it out right here. I have not committed adultery, meaning I have not lusted or committed fornication, nor have I lain with others of my same sex. That takes away your gay rights, your gay, whatever you want to do. No, that's not what God intended for us. So that's just a phrase. But it's a phrase that every person in relationship should be able to say. Let's talk about it. It should be clear. Okay, here we go. Yeah. When the finger's pointed at you, you can't go, you got to be responsible. And that's what this is all about. Self-responsibility. Self-mastery is taking responsibility for everything you do. So even in a relationship with another individual, you should be responsible for that. And these are the things that you need to understand. It should be clear that by now, to the reader, that he or she is not the body. We know that. The mind, the senses, nor our ego, personality self. We identify with I. That's the purpose, but that's not who we are. The I is the lower self. Further, it must be clear, I'm trying to make that point clear to you, that the world as our senses perceive it is not it is not what it appears to be. We talk about that delusion every year. I'm past that, but let's talk about and get into relationships. But at least intellectually, there we go. You can't be intellectual without thinking. So intellectually, you must now understand that your true identity is what? The spirit. And what's the spirit? God. Right there. Understanding that. We ain't got to play this game back and forth. That's the spirit. And that's the gimme. God give us that. That's the gift to us. What we do with it, with the concept that he gave us free will, is our gift to him. You want to go back to him? Live, do, and be. And when this is over, that's where you go. It's all conceptual. Once it's metaphorical, allegorical, whatever you want to call it. But if you put the work in, only you'll know. Oh, nobody ever came back and told I could care less about that ignorant ass concept. Okay. If you're living right and doing right, you shouldn't worry about what somebody ain't came back and done. Moving on. And which was this? Your spirit. You need to identify with that. And that is God, which is neither male or female. I told you. Sex is for the physical body. God don't need that. And therefore, what is the nature of relationships? Ding, 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 ding. You ready? In the physical form, and what is their purpose? What did he tell you? Be fruitful and multiply. So that means we're going to have to engage male and female. Opposites coming together as one. That's Maya. Two things come together for the whole and to what? Reproduce more. That's what. One must understand that God, here we go, I'm a teacher now, one's higher self, which is the spirit. You just got to become conscious of it. Remember, the spirit don't have a conscience. You have to connect it with your consciousness. It has its own, which is honest, pure, and good, but it needs to be connected with yours. Why? Because it belongs to you. That's what you're looking for, yourself. I get excited, sorry. But I hope this is making sense. I'm teaching now. I'm trying to make a point. So if I was in the classroom, I'll be having all kind of discussions to see if it's getting understood. Right now, all I can do is emphasize it, and hopefully it's understood. But watch this. When you understand, a.k.a. come enlighten with self, your higher self, this places one in what? It places you in situations and relationships that's based on your own, you ready? Misconnect. We know that to be karma. What you reap is what you sow. And this is your identity and your desires. If you are ran by your physical desire, we know what that leads to. So watch this. Watch this. Thus, it is your own consciousness that what draws one's relationship to one another. You attract what you are. Opposites attract, but when it comes to attract, law of attraction says you attract what you are, and that is so true. These lessons are lessons to learn, not to debate or argue or contradict. It ain't about one another. Listen, you can pick out an anomaly in anything, but it ain't about that. But it's already understood. These is facts of life that's been handed down for centuries. It ain't debatable or arguable. It's facts. When your karmic consciousness, when you have knowledge of self, watch this. That consciousness changes and it evolves in one relationships, and your karmic destiny is based on what? How you and the other person interact. Thus, our destiny is not predetermined. I hate when people, no. Maybe how do you get there? But the road that you take, you can't predetermine that one. But then again, if you're taking the right road, I can tell you it's arduous, it's lonely, it's hard, and it ain't fun. But at the end, it's so rewarding. That's the difference. Some people want the rewards before they do. No, you gotta put the work in first. Moving on. That's why God always what? When you give to him, he'll always give back. You didn't know that? Try it. Moving on. You got to give a little to receive a lot. Think about it. You give to the right person, you get back more than you gave. Trust me. And thus, our destinies, again, are not predetermined. Rather, what we created when at every moment that we live, we getting ourselves closer to our destiny one way or another, be it good or bad. And coming into this physical realm, as spiritual beings, We got to come here to have this human experience. And based on how you live it is based on how it's going to go. That makes a lot of sense. Moving on. But if you live in a world where you are being enslaved, removed, yeah, but that's a situation that you have to work yourself through, understand that, but that don't make it right or fair. So moving on. So if you're a slave, not that your destination be determined, but boy, this is a hard fight, okay? And just because of color of your skin makes you in that predicament, that ain't fair at all. So it's coming to, when you come into the physical world and you vivifying matter, I mean the spirit comes physical. We fall in man from spirit to matter, physical form, human beings. We just don't know who we are. My goal is to make that point clear to you by any means necessary. This is one of the means I think is necessary. So let me get to this lesson. Now, the spirit gains what? Experience how? Through the physical body and through situations, the process that we call living, life, the game of life. A baby is born to the world. Unbeknownst to him, her, they about to catch hell one way or another. Oh, it's about to change. So you got to be prepared for that. That's all. And the spirit is what? Continuously striving, evolving to what? You ready for this? Return to its original state of oneness with who? Its maker. Makes sense. If you can explain it where it makes sense, I ain't got to argue with you. I'm just making the point. The concept. Give me a philosophy that you can manifest for yourself to find out, is it true? Do it work? To make a difference to me, I know it do why I use it. So that's my point. And what's this? This oneness we call, you see me use a word called Hotep. To hear it, you hear it sound Hotep. No, the E sound and the O sound pretty much synonymous. So some write the O, I use the E. So it's spelled Hetep. That means peace. The Muslims say Assalamu alaikum. That means peace. Same thing. Okay. The Jews got a word that means shalom. Peace. Peace in any language is still peace. Peace, it is lost when it becomes attached to what? The human physical form. It comes down to physical form. That baby coming out, it don't know from jack who it is. But once it starts to become egotistical about what? Learning about I, me, oh, that's the conscious that they grow up with. Depending on the environment, the first 7 years shape your wiring. But as you get older, you take control over. After 21 years, you should be able to make adult situations based on what you think is best for you. So hold up. Stop making excuses for stuff that you can take care of. Moving on. Now the problem arises when the mind, okay, your consciousness believes itself to be what? A separate entity from others. The I, the individual, the me, that's the ego. Hello, and develops what they call the ego. Carl Jung calls it the id. Same thing. Okay. Centuries back, it was set the ego. I'm rolling with that. Y'all can call it the id, but y'all call it the devil, the Satan. It's you. Okay? And forgetting itself. Once the ego take over, your higher self gives in. Why? Until you what? Raise your kundalini and you get knowledge and understanding and put the ego in the servitude position where it just do what you tell it to do. You don't let it do what it wants to do. That's meaning it's leading you and you're going to be responsible for all that stuff. And the spirit, watch this. The spirit searches for what? Unity with what? With oneness of itself. Its true self. That's why the spirit in you is striving, aspiring. It wants something. You're searching something. I did 35 years ago. Didn't know what it was, but I get it. I understand it now. And guess what that leads to? Mayat for the Egyptians. The Tao for the Chinese. But in all, believing what is in the mind tells it through what? The senses, the physical body. But the spirit, the soul, identifies with what? With that information, meaning knowledge, and thereby begins to search for what? Unity and the oneness. How? In the way that the limited senses, which is the body and the mind, have convinced it what? To search. Childhood, again, there we go. Childhood is an important period. Why? Because for the first 7 years, you just seeing, hearing, and, and then you begin to enact based on how you interpret it, how you perceived it, and that becomes you. Okay. Now, one senses and identifies with it, if it's done in a proper environment and correct, you will have understanding about what? The nature of reality. Discipline keeps you grounded in reality. You just can't do what you want to do. That's called parenting. And the ego personality is like a kid. It needs to develop. Why? Because the ego personality develops, watch this, its own desires and conjures up its own ideas. That's imagination for kids. They make these imaginary friends. Yeah, but that's fine. That's cool. And watch this. That's all your ego personality. You can't change that. You just try to work with it and understand it so you can get control over it. And all your desires to I want. When you say no to a child, they need to understand they can't. Some children who are undisciplined won't understand no. They want what they want, and that's where it comes from. And watch this. They'll conjure up ideas as to what? How to achieve fulfillment for those desires. I mean, they'll do anything. How you think? Well, the cookies. We all children. We know the cookie jar. Okay? When we want a cookie, ain't nobody around. I'm going to get that cookie. That's conjuring up your own ideas to achieve what's your fulfillment. When you get caught, you hand the cookie jar. What are you doing? I don't know. Ding, 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 ding. The devil made me do it. All right. But that's called immaturity. And child's going to go through that. Your job is to help them along with that. And they try to fulfill their desires. Fulfillment is what? In one of two types. Ignorant or wise. If you want to do the right thing, you'll avoid all those nonsensical things. If you're ignorant, you're going to continue to suffer through ignorant, what we call fetters, brought on by your own self. That's like men, married, women, married, cheating. When you get caught, whose fault is it? Hand in the cookie jar. I don't know. Okay, moving on. Hope you're getting the lesson. That's what this is all about, teaching. Moving on. But now the ignorant forms what? A desire, fulfillment, and it's all based on what? Erroneous misunderstanding of the nature of one's desires and the ways to resolve them. They don't know about nothing. They want to do what they want to do. You can't tell a young man to control his nature. Man, he ain't trying to hear that. But he'll learn old-fashioned way. As I tell you, sometimes experience is the best teacher. I'm just a verbal teacher. Life's going to give you the other part. I'm just trying to help you along the way. And all desires arise from what? From the need to what? Regain a certain feeling of infinite bliss, whatever makes you feel good. Some people it's weed, some people it's heroin, some cocaine, whatever. It's a drug. And as my teacher say, drugs are, strictly prohibited. I don't need a drug to communicate and commune with God. Simple as that. A higher state of, getting high. Been there, done that. I know what that is, but you don't need that to obtain bliss. That'll get you high. It won't get you to bliss. Moving on. The cloud nine, I told you about that. The spiritual cloud nine to get you to bliss, okay? But watch this. They want to regain the feeling of infinite bliss, meaning they want that feeling, that orgasmic feeling, that euphoric feeling that you can't live walking around just all goofy, okay? But watch this, which comes from what? Here you go. This comes from achieving what? Unity and supreme peace within oneself, not drug-induced. Thus, the wise form of desire is the desire to attain enlightenment, knowledge of self, and due to identification with what? The mind and body, putting it together, mind and body, we search for fulfillment, aka bliss. How? Watch this. Watch the difference. By trying to satisfy the desires which arise where? In the mind. In the mind and the body are only what? Instruments that are to be controlled. Hello. When the spirit-based desire for unity becomes confused. There we go. With what? With the physical. Lower nature, okay? Which the physical body senses desires of the flesh. You have total control over you. I'm going to leave that there. It searches, now it's searching for what? Unity. How? By establishing what? Intimate, meaning physical relationship. You're looking for somebody to get intimate with. You're looking to somebody, yeah, okay, but watch this. Intimate relationship with what? Other individuals. If you want to get physical, and that's fine, but what happens is we become happy. Why? Because of the performance of the sense-based activity. But again, it's only temporary. When two people get together, but after that fun is all over, after the temporary, whatever, how long it takes, what happens after that? This allows us to what? For that time, release tension physically and sometimes mentally. But this temporary release of mental tension is just, or agitation for the moment, is a movement toward illusion of peace. Not true peace. This the illusion. Why? Because it's physical. Anything physical is not internal. Because once the tension, watch this, has built back up, what you gonna do? You're gonna do it again. Okay, so you gotta keep up. Okay, again, we must again seek the situations which will what? Will provide the same release. Sometimes this is attained through, you ready? This is how people get endorphins and that good feeling. Some of us watch TV. Some of us overeat. Some of us oversmoke. Some of us go shopping. Some of us continue sexual exploitations, sexual activities, and a lot of us use drugs, alcohol, whatever it means to get you where you think you don't want to be. But it's still going to be temporary. Okay? For some, when the frustration levels build beyond their ability to cope, there you go. What happens? You ready? They attempt suicide. Of what? Or if they perceive that someone is a threat, to their happiness, to what they like to be doing, if they harbor deep resentment towards someone from their present lifetime or from even the previous one, they may what? Become violent with that person, even to the point of murder. That is when you get to that point, you really want to take somebody's life. Self-defense, ain't thinking twice. Okay, but anything else, that's premeditated. So, but since this type of activity is based on, again, what? You ready? An erroneous understanding, and the desires were never truly met. So they still want something that they can't forget. And thereby, it reinforced what? Again and again, causes an endless cycle based on, again, my favorite word, ignorance. You're going to do bad, wrong things due to what? Not knowing. Not being dumb or stupid. Not knowing and doing. You're going to do something wrong. That's the whole point of what? Gaining, knowing, understanding. And the peace, watch this. The release of tension. That's peace. Okay, they say let go and let God. Whatever I don't control, let God take care of it. Why? It's out of my hands. Simple as that. If something you can't physically control it, you got nothing to do with that. Move on. Get better at understanding that. I am. Simple as that. Moving on. Watch this. We experience, watch this. It says, the peace, aka release of tension, we experience is what? Only a glimpse of what? Of what is waiting for you in the what? Enlightened state. Once you reach that level of enlightenment, it's a whole new ball game for you. That's what they said. And every now and then, when you reach that level, by hook or crook, by whatever means, that glimpse you get, that's what you can have. You can live in that state of mind. Like my man said, I stay blissed out. I understand the concept. What? I live in a meditative state of mind. So I'm always where I need to be, right? Where I need to be. Not too high, not too low. I'm just grooving. And that's a nice place to be. Why? Because I can do that. So I can live in that state. Moving on, let me start to the cloud. Let me get this thing over with. A lot of information here, but it's all about relationships. First of all, I get to it. For these reasons, watch this, understanding. This is why knowledge is important. For these reasons, correct understanding of what? Reality. I keep it real. And the one true identity is essentially what? In conquering one's physical sense desires in the flesh. And in order to determine what your true needs of the soul, it ain't physical, it's internal. The soul needs to what? Expand mentally in the confines of the physical body and family relationships and the physical world. It's part of the course. but from the position of freeing it, to experience true peace and fulfillment, from which it can then operate your best self. When you're free from agitation, you're free from a whole bunch of situations that drama we call it, you can function more effectively and you would be more at peace, where in all realms you'll sleep better, you could just do everything will be better. Why? Because you're at peace. Agitation means you ain't at peace and you're always vibrating and you always, it's not a good place to be. You can't live there. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so therefore, all relationships, listen, including marriage and family, okay, are good to the extent that they assist you in achieving your lofty goal, of self-discovery, to know thyself and to obtain dispassion, detachment by daily studying and reflecting, and even more important, meditation, along with the wisdom learned and orientated participation. And what's this? In this particular world are the ways to achieve supreme fulfillment. When you're doing what you need to do, you can do for others. If you ain't, I hate people giving life advice that they don't live by or they're not using. Again, we can all give everybody master advice about their problem, but you got your own problem. How about you master yours first? Moving on, just the concept. And one must understand how to cultivate dispassionate love. To have a big heart and a small mind, you're going to suffer. Giving without expecting something in return, and that's good, but it's a waste of your time for the wrong people. I give a selfish service, so I fully understand that, but I ain't serving any and everybody. This provides you with joy and peace. I have nothing but love and peace doing what I do for somebody else. That cannot come, watch this, from, you ready? Possessive, ego-based, self-loving, which leaves one open for the pain of disappointment, of one's own maturity and spiritual insight. You must be guided in deciding which relationship to engage in. Again, you got to have the wherewithal to know who and not to deal with. That's what they're telling you. You got to be the orchestrator of who you relationships to engage in and maintain. The philosophy I live by right here, philosophy you can use that's best for you is ready. Mayat for balance, Tahuti for the thought. And these are the best guides. What's this? Although seemingly a selfish venture, the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment is the most selfless process which one can engage in. Why? Because if a person develops qualities, necessary to achieve that coveted goal of spiritual enlightenment, Nihas, Christhood. If you reach that, and I got a buddy who's done his way, we're in the same place. We got there by different routes. So when you reach that goal, what happens? All who come into contact with said person will benefit. Why? Since all human beings are in reality expressions of the one supreme being, and for those who find that out, those who know that, what happened? The best thing any individual can do is to free him or herself from Apophis. That's the one who's against Ra in the noon. He wants to keep everything in the dark. And again, watch this. His buddy is set, your ego. And this considered your emotions of selfishness, machismo, feminism, immorality, hate, sadness, sexism, racism, etc. Anything that's negative and bad, that's what Apophis and Set represents. Which are all ego-based mental conditions arising from ignorance. Again, ignorance is the culprit, as each individual is saved from the world, and thus one step closer to his or her own salvation, and therefore doing one's best And then relinquishing the rest to the netter. Do what you can when you can. Leave the rest up to God. Let go, let God. That's what they're telling you, right? That's the concept I'm hearing. That's I'm putting in the same frame of mind. It says relinquish the rest to the netter. That's God. Is to perform preferred course. When you do what you're supposed to do and done all you could to your best ability, okay. Rest on your laurels and let God do what God do. If that's your concept, if that's your religion, I keep telling you, I serve a right now God. When I'm in need of it right now. I'm going to see if he going to serve me right now. Moving on, wrapping it up. Again, I see the clock. Sorry, but this is good information, I hope. In relationships, watch this. Now, in relationships, as any area of life, the keys are, you ready? Honesty, patience, dispassionate love, meaning just unconditional love. As one who aspires to achieve these great goals, one must realize that, I told you before, that the road is full of obstacles, arduous, hard, and more life challenges. So everybody won't make it. Everybody don't even want to take it. Relationships need to be prioritized as the following. I got 4 right quick for you. The first one is long, but this nails it right quick. Relationship with God comes first. If that's not your priority, you should make it. First of all, I ain't saying go to church, but you should have a relationship with God. How you do that is on you. One cannot have higher level interactions if one is spiritually ignorant and unfulfilled. If you just live on the physical world, if you got what you want, you're happy. You don't get what you want, you're unhappy. That's not the way to live, but a lot of us do. Moving on. But when one discovers one's connection to the universal Ba, which is God, now one's purpose in life would become clear. You can't tell me that teaching ain't my calling. Why? That's how I feel. So you can't tell me otherwise. Moving on. And from this point, all other relationships will occur, in harmony with this paramount priority. If a person know about you, they need to deal with you in that order. If not, don't deal with them. Otherwise, life situations like this will always seem to be in contradiction. People who ain't for you, they're against you. With one's deeper feelings and leads to constant mental unrest. If you're arguing with somebody on a daily, don't be bothered. That's bad energy, bad juju. Go on about your business. You don't need that. Next one, number 2, relationship, to the partner. You have to do your part. Play your role. Never mind what they doing, ain't doing. Stop that. Putting the blame. Take care of your end. And when they don't meet, when the scales don't right, then you can make your point. Until then, just do you. And now you got a relationship with the family members. That's a little different. Okay? Again, this is prioritizing. Putting them where they need to be. God first. Relationship, family, and number 3, relationship with other members of society. You dictate their relationships. Again, finally, let me wrap this up for you. Finally, one's own peace. For one's own peace, it must be realized that since most relationships occur in the area of our personality of egoism and all the karmatic-based absolute honesty and truth is not always possible. I said, you just do yours. The other half, that's on them. Despite their best efforts of the individual, they're going to fall short of your expectation if you hold them to. Don't do that. Conflicts are bound to arise. Again, in all relationships. No, all. The most important factor is how those conflicts are handled. I got best friends. Whatever conflict we have, because of respect that we have, it don't get out of pocket, it don't get out of control, and it get taken care of respectfully. And achieving true unity and harmony in a relationship, that's what it takes, cannot occur. Watch this. It cannot occur if the consciousness of those involved, meaning you and the other person, if remain at an egoistical level. If a person, not you, the person you're with, relationship with, in friendship, whatever, if they're egotistical, it ain't going nowhere. It ain't going to work. Simple as that. A consciousness, watch this, a consciousness which is directed to higher reality or absolute truth, aka Maya or right thing philosophy, the Tao, Nirvana, Christ consciousness, etc., is required. If you're on that level, we're good. If not, we don't have to do nothing. Then all the glory, here we go, wrapping it up, all the glory and beauty which truly exists in above, in the mind, may be brought down and experienced in the physical body below as well. Then the souls and the matter, which is the body, which they vivify, can now commune as one. We're back to, like I said, everything is on the one. And on that note, I'm out. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. Work on relationship. If not, you're going to have problems. But in closing, right thinkers, may y'all let it be 100, me 100 minus a day. So I never know that right thinkers, like you, who passed away. Enjoy your relationships.